Hi everybody, here for day 4 of Vacation Under the Volcano. We just read The End is Here, and now we're on to chapter 7. The sky is falling. The next thing Jack knew, he was lying on the stone patio. The patio stones were trembling. A rumbling sound came from the ground. Jack raised his head. Annie was on the ground too. "You okay?" said Annie. Jack nodded. Everything was shaking and crashing down around them. Pots, pans. The mermaid fountain, water from the goldfish pond sloshed onto the patio and Jack and Annie. They both jumped up just as the roof tiles began falling into the garden. "We better get inside," said Jack. He grabbed his leather bag. Then he and Annie stumbled into the scroll library. Giant cracks split the stone floor as Jack and Annie ran to a window and looked out. Glowing rocks were bursting through the sky above Mount Vesuvius. The whole top of the mountain had blown off. "What's happening?" said Annie. "I'll check," said Jack. He pulled out the Roman book. He read aloud from the section about the volcano. When a volcano erupts, hot melted rock called magma is pushed to the surface of the earth. Once it gets outside of the volcano, it's called lava. "Lava, that's like burning mud," said Jack. "It covers everything," cried Annie. Jack kept reading. There was no running lava from Mount Vesuvius. The magma from the volcano cooled so fast that it froze into small grayish-white rocks called pumice. A pumice rock is very light and has holes like a sponge. "That doesn't sound too bad," said Jack. "Wait, there's more," said Jack. He read on. A great cloud of pumice ash and burning rock shot miles into the air. When it rained down on Pompeii, it completely buried the town. "Oh man," said Jack, "this is a major disaster." "It's getting dark," said Annie. Jack looked out again. A thick black cloud was spreading over the earth like an umbrella. The sun vanished as the sky turned smoky gray. "That must be the cloud of pumice and ash," said Jack. Just then the ground trembled, and chunks of plaster from the ceiling fell on the scrolls. "We have to get out of here," said Annie. They ran from the scroll library into the garden. Ash and pumice began to fall. "We have to cover our heads," said Jack. He hurried into the garden, into the dining room. "Look, pillows," said Annie. "Just put them on our heads." They hurried to the couches beside the table and each grabbed a pillow. "Tie it around your head like with your belt," said Jack. They both pulled off their belts from around their tunics. Then they tied the pillows like giant hats. A chunk of ceiling crashed down near them. "Let's get out of here," said Jack. They stepped over the pieces of falling roof tiles and ran into the main hall. They pushed open the front door. A blast of heat and dust nearly knocked them over, and when they stepped outside, pumice rained down onto their pillow hats. "Run!" cried Annie. They ran from the vacation villa into the dark, burning streets. Ugh, that does not sound like a fun vacation at all. I promise you, though, there is a next book, so Jack and Annie are fine for those of you that are worried. Chapter 8, Nightmare at Noon. In the distance, fire burst from Mount Vesuvius. Burning rocks and fiery ash fell from the sky. The hot, dusty air smelled like rotten eggs. As Jack and Annie rushed down the street in the Forum, The hot, dusty air smelled like rotten eggs. As Jack and Annie rushed down the street in the Forum, everyone, shoppers, soldiers, gladiators, fruit sellers, were running in every direction. Stalls had collapsed, carts were sliding. Jack froze. He didn't know where to go. Uh-oh. "That way," shouted Annie. Jack followed her as they ran past the Temple of Jupiter. Its mighty columns had fallen and its walls were crumbling. They ran past the public baths just as its roof caved in. "Which way now?" shouted Annie. "The treehouse is over in the olive grove," Jack said as they kept running. "The olive grove and the bridge are near the street with all the open shops," said Annie. "Remember the bridge?" Jack looked up at the erupting mountain. A red-hot cloud billowed over it. Fires burned on its slopes. "Head in the direction of Mount Vesuvius," he said. "It was behind us as we came into Pompeii." Right, cried Annie. So while others ran away from Mount Vesuvius, Jack and Annie ran toward it. On the street with the open shops, baskets and broken jars rolled over the cracked stones. Jack and Annie ran past the bakery and the shoe shop. They ran past the butcher shop and the barber shop. All the shops were empty. Their owners had fled. The closer they got to the volcano, the more the ground trembled. The darker and dustier it got. This is just like my nightmare, cried Annie. Jack choked on the rotten fumes. His eyes watered. Look, the olive grove, shouted Annie. The treehouse is just over there. Come on. Jack could hardly see, but he followed Annie. They left the street and ran to the dried-up stream near the olive grove. Where's the bridge? Cried Annie. They looked around wildly. The bridge had vanished. Uh-oh. That's the end of Chapter 8. I hate to leave you on a cliffhanger, but we'll finish the rest tomorrow. I do want to tell you a little bit about this because I was a little scared about this story. And I don't know if anyone else feels the way I do, but it made me nervous. And what I want to tell you, and as I don't mean to give spoilers, but I think it's important that we know that there are more books, so we don't have to be scared for Jack and Annie. They want to build suspense, which is fun, but there's no reason for any of us to be scared. On the other side, I also want you to know, though, that this part of the book, this disaster, really happened. Pompeii and Mount Vesuvius, the volcano really did explode, and Pompeii, the whole city, was destroyed. And that is a very, very, very sad story. And that is one reason Miss Roberts is glad we don't live by volcanoes. Because volcanoes can be very destructive and people can get hurt. And while it is very, very sad, it also happened a very, very, very long time ago. So it's not something we have to worry as much about now because we have different markers and scientists make sure they know when things like this are going to happen to keep people safe. So I just kind of wanted to touch base on that so you knew a little bit of the history and science behind this whole thing and why we don't have to worry about this happening nowadays. But let you know it is historically accurate and it is one of those things that gets our hearts pumping, and I'm worried about Jack and Annie, but I don't want anyone being too scared of the book, so we must know that Annie and Jack are just fine. But I'm still interested to find out how they get to the Magic Treehouse, so we will have to find out that tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.